the lineup for the women's single scull. Olympic silver medalist in the double, Anne-Kathrin Thiele for Germany in lane 1. Then it's New Zealand, China, Czech Republic, Belarus and Sweden in the further lanes. Here we have Anne-Kathrin Thiele. She decided, being Germany's fastest single sculler, to give it a go in the single scull this year, and it's a great that we have her in the final. As we think about Emma Twigg as well, Lucerne World Cup winner for New Zealand, bronze medalist last year at Lake Karapiro on her home territory. Strong Chinese sculler Zhang Zhuyun for China. She was second behind Twigg at Lucerne in lane 3, one of the two semi-final winners. So the same goes for Milka Knapkova of the Czech Republic, former 400-meter runner. That was already 8-9 years ago. 31 years old, bronze medalist at Lucerne, 4th place for her at Karapiro. The most well-known woman in our sport, Ekaterina Karsten of Belarus, racing from lane 5, meaning she came second behind the Chinese just so in the semi-final. And finally the world champion trying to defend her title, Frida Svensson of Sweden, racing from lane 6. So what do you think, who would be the favorite on paper? Yes. We look at the medal lanes most of the times, but I mean with single sculling we saw some poker faces in the semi-finals here and there, didn't we?
A lot of cat and mouse in those races, and it was funny in the press conference yesterday they asked, was there a gentlewoman's agreement once the first 3 had cleared in the race with Karsten, Zhang and Frida Svensson, and she said, you know, we looked across at each other and knew the 3 of us were going to go on, so maybe there was, but there won't be one tomorrow.
So that's the promise and a challenge, and it's Emma Twigg for New Zealand. 80 kilos and 181 in height. So a good weight and height ratio, very good athlete, 24 years old only, so she might well go on to Rio in 2016, but first, of course, to come is the London Olympics. All boats have qualified. The nation have qualified for the Olympics who have entered the final here.
And Twigg had a fantastic race in Lucerne when she won that. It was the one time at the World Cup where Ekaterina Karsten ended up off the podium. She said she had some, there were some issues with visa problems for the coaches, so she just had a terrible run up to that race, but certainly appears to be on form here at the World Championships. She said to me, I talked to her a few days ago, and she said that she thought that this would be the toughest race heading into the Olympics because qualification is on the line. These 6 are all through, but this is the cream of the crop at this point in the season.
And Anne-Kathrin Thiele for Germany, whom we saw on the screen just a moment ago, sets the pace in this final of the women's single sculls, the climax of this regatta here. She wants to go out and move out early. She scored a silver and a bronze at the Munich and Hamburg stages of the World Cup, then decided not to go to Lucerne, and after a quarter of this race she leads by a canvas over Karsten and Twigg, who are level for second. I think there the timing is definitely not right. It's not a second separating these 2 athletes, and China's there too, as is Frida Svensson of Sweden and Czech Republic. So it's still tight, this field here, with Twigg now closing in on Thiele of Germany, and also Karsten decided to apply a more aggressive tactic this time, not play cat and mouse and maybe stalking, as you say, as stalking on the other athletes coming from behind and then overtaking at a certain point of the race.
I think she said that she tries to mix up her strategy so no one can really figure it out, but there's no way she's going to be able to hang too far back in the field, especially when you look at someone like Emma Twigg here, who refused to be caught at the World Cup in Lucerne.
Well, she looks good today as well, but and leading by a canvas ahead of the German, who also sets a high pace here and tries to display an aggressive tactic. That's Karsten for Belarus. As you said, 4th place at Lucerne, but won both in Hamburg and Munich. and was silver medalist behind Frida Svensson, her lane neighbor in lane 6 from Sweden. This is Anne-Katrin Thiele with that fantastic row in her experience where they challenged the Eva Swindell sisters for gold at the Beijing Olympics and lost by the narrowest of margins.
I think it was 200ths of a second. It was one of the most exciting finishes ever. She's decided she wants to go for the individual pursuit, and therefore she has entered the single. Karsten at 31 beats a minute, understroking again, rowing that low, calm rating, but staying in touch, and she does have the ability to jack that rating up and pounce. Wow, look at this, New Zealand with open water now.
On Karsten and Thiele, but behind Twig the field is still tightly packed indeed. Knapkova moving in and closing in on Karsten now at this point with an even lower rating, I think. And Zhang of China hanging just a half length down. So this is going to be a good one. All athletes still within contentions of the medals. This is unlike to the other, or this is a difference to the other races we've seen earlier. Here you can see it from the top view, just 1.5 lengths separating all 6 athletes vying for just 3 medals.
Really a gutsy move, I think, by Emma Twigg to go after that lead, but Karsten is close. And Karsten is definitely making sure she's right there. And as you mentioned, Knapkova, and never count out Zhang. Zhang is just an exceptional sprinter.
She can do a good last 500 indeed. But look at Twig. She really has it in her mind. You have to judge every stroke really right. 220 strokes to the 2,000 meter coast roughly in the single scull. Every stroke has to be exactly right to be able to spend all your energy within the 220 strokes and not end up with 200 strokes and then you have to have the last 20 and no energy left. Emma Twig really tries to go out first at 1500, and now she has over 2 lengths margin. Can she sustain that pace? That's the question with 750 meters to go. Twig of New Zealand leading another pack of scullers, headed now by Milka Knapkova of the Czech Republic, just ahead of Karsten. Thiele of Germany slipping behind into 4th place.
You can see Twig's seat is starting to drive a little bit before the blades are in the water, probably a sign of fatigue from the exertion to get the lead that she has achieved so far. But still, 1 boat length, it appears, over Karsten, and then, oh, that's Knapkova, I believe, and then Karsten half a length back, and now it's going to get really interesting in this final 500 meters.
What can Zhang Shuyun of China do? She chose as the fastest single sculler for China to spend the season in Europe, trained in various German towns, and also started at the Ratzeburg International Regatta. But Twig now under pressure from Knapkova. Now this might be the big moment for Milka Knapkova. If she can hold off any challenge coming from Karsten, she might now be overtaking the New Zealand sculler. 34 strokes a minute for Knapkova of the Czech Republic. Still Twig holding on to a slight lead though. This angle is deceptive, but now it might be level between Knapkova and Twig. Now Knapkova comes through with a canvas lead, and her boat, you can see that on the screen, has the biggest speed now. With 2:50 to go, it's Twig of New Zealand that has to come back now on the Czech Republic. Last year we saw the surprise win by Frida Svensson after a long streak of winning some medals here and there. Now it might be the hour of long-time contender Milka Knapkova for any medal. A fantastic row, and she's here 100 meters from the finish line. Her speed is still the greatest, but here come Ekaterina Karsten with 1.5 lengths to cover on Knapkova. 15 strokes it's still left in this race. Knapkova of the Czech Republic leading the way home though, and she ups the rate once more. She's on 38 strokes a minute now. Knapkova winning the gold. I'm sure of that now if no wreckage happens, because Karsten is closing in and might win a silver ahead of Twig of New Zealand. But it's the hour of Milka Knapkova scoring a gold medal for the Czech Republic and beating Ekaterina Karsten, who scores a very good silver medal ahead of Twig of New Zealand. And then it was not much between the reigning world champion and Zhang of China for places 4 and 5. Definitely Thiele in 6th place for Germany. That's a race, and there's confirmation. Gold medal for Milka Knapkova. of the Czech Republic, the lightest built of any of these athletes, 67 kilos only.
She used to be a 1,500-meter track athlete. That was her event. And she's been so quiet this regatta, very little to say. But that's the most strategic race we've ever seen from her. And to be behind in the first 1,000, but just very calm, very steady. And when she launched her move, she went for it.
And Emma Twigg simply couldn't sustain her race pace. She went out there to win gold. And as in single sculls, as I said, when you just run out of fuel, this is that, and then you could be happy to win a bronze medal. Confirmation of the result, the final of the women's single scull, Mirka Kapnova scoring gold, winning gold, Ekaterina Karsten silver, and Emma Twigg of New Zealand winning a bronze medal.